This is something that Seb and I created a couple of months ago, because as I said, currently BioJS components are basically all developed independently, and while that's a good thing, it also gives some problems when you want to send data from one to the other. For example, if you have the concept of dashboard, where you have many widgets and each of them sort of influences the filtering of the others. This is an example where we have just a very silly data set with five elements in it, and here we're seeing the distribution of species or organism, here the distribution of country, and here we're sort of filtering by ID, which is really useful. Point is, if we slide here, sort of all the other widgets respond, the table included. We can click here to see only human things, or only the data of human things, and so it's, I think it's pretty clear what the idea is here. And there are existing frameworks for widgets. You'll have to ask Seb for the name. I keep forgetting. That sort of support this, but those are basically all developed by the same team, I believe. And we want to create a sort of standard to make it easier for different widgets to communicate. You want to?
I can show a different project which actually uses a BioJS component for this, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I guess you know it?
I might. No, I don't.
You don't? Oh.
No. Sorry.
No worries.
But this looks familiar.
Yeah. So you maybe are familiar with crossfilter, which is also a library which is used for this kind of manipulation. And why is it crashing?
Is it? Yes, it is.
Oh, damn. And this was an example using crossfilter and BioJS components, okay, which actually achieves the same effect as you have seen in the BioJS demo currently, but with a real BioJS component.
So I'll just finish up.
Yeah.
This is.
Can you tell us how it does it? How do they? I mean, you've just said that they should, and that you've done a way for them to communicate, and you've shown that they do. But how do they do it? I'm
going to tell you right now. Okay. So this is just a small proof of concept, and in the background, each of these it uses functional reactive programming, which is a concept, and one of the libraries that implements it is Kefir.js, which is my favorite, but a bit more popular, but I think a bit slower, is Bacon.js. It might be more well known though. Every connection between two things. So okay, here's by the way the image of. Here's basically those two of the widgets and how they're connected. Every connection between. So you have a socket where you can receive signals from a stream, and functional reactive programming is all about streams of data. And you have a sort of a plug where you can output information. So each of these widgets has one input for data and one output for filter. And that's basically how it works. Every one of these lines from one, or arrows from one thing to another, is really one line of code only. And this is the ideal for basically plugging cables together and therefore making BioJS widgets communicate by functional reactive. And I don't know how long I have, but I can take 2 minutes maybe to slightly extend my previous presentation there and have content number 4. I create one, and there we go. I create 2 buttons, one that says +1, one that says -1. There we go. And then I'm using Kefir right here. P1 is a stream. We use a +1 and then skefir stream click. So basically it creates a stream of whenever you click on that button, another value is added to the stream. And which value is it? It's always +1, because we map it to +1. Same for -1. Then on +1 we add some. When we click +1, we add some things to 5. When we add -1, we add some things to 6. Both will also add their thing to 7. And this is how you can do that. For example, both is also a stream, which is created by merging P1 and M1, +1 and -1. The final line here, it uses just a well-known function for functional reactive, is scan. Basically, it combines. It takes the current value and it accumulates new values into it in a custom way. In this case, I'm just adding -1 or +1 to the current value. The point is, any signal can be a first-class citizen, or a signal generator, I should say, can be a first-class citizen and be combined in all kinds of flexible ways. We feel that this is probably the nicest way to have Bio.js components communicate, and it does require something of you when you create a component, if you want to sort of join in on this, that maybe you want to accept streams for getting values and produce streams for publishing values. That's all for them. Thanks.
Anyone would like to say something else?
Or has a question, Michiel?
Yeah, I've got 2 questions. So if I understand correctly, you're basically saying that these frameworks like Bacon and Kafir, they just expose those APIs which allow you to make calls, and that the JavaScript layer takes care of the inter-call communication. Is that right?
Yes, I think so.
And so what you're proposing for Bio.js community is a kind of best practice in how any particular component should expose both a scan, like those kind of endpoint calls.
This is my suggestion. Yes, that if you want to be able to, if you want to be compatible as much as possible with other components, that's probably the best way to do it.
And presumably we come along with a recommendation of the data types and data modules that should be exposed to those.
Exactly. So you have a stream, but it doesn't say anything yet about which form the data should be in. I don't know how best to represent a DNA sequence or something. That's someone else to decide that.
And what's the kind of level of browsing support for that at the moment?
Oh, it's not a native thing. It's implemented in JavaScript. Okay. It will though. It will become a native thing, but you don't have to know that right now. It's yeah.